Okay, I want you to, on your desk, I just want to see your science folder and your science notebook. What we're going to do today is we're going to get organized. We've had lots and lots of things lately. We're going to cut some of them out and glue them in our notebook. We're going to make sure we have what we need in our folder. And we're going to go over last night's worksheet. Okay, so find the paper that looks like this up on the board. Okay. We are going to glue it into our notebook. Okay, so I'm going to hold Sophie's notebook. If I go to my tab for chapter 1, I have my atoms, elements, molecules, compounds foldable. If I turn the page, on the next page I should have my atom. I'm going to turn on the next page. Am I going to glue it on the back? No. Now, if you try and glue it in normal, if you keep your notebook up and down, will it fit on the page? No. So turn your notebook sideways and glue it in to where it fits. Leave a little bit of space because we're going to title this one. So once you glue it into your notebook, above it, just title this one Element. You shouldn't have to cut it. It was already just a half of a page. You're just going to your next open page in your notebook, turning your notebook sideways and gluing it in. And then title that page Element. Okay, the page before that is an atom. This one we're going to title Element. Do you have a question? Okay, so we're gluing it in and we're titling it Element. Then I want you to turn the page in your notebook. Remember, try not to glue on the backs, okay, because then things will stick together. So go to the next page. Look for your piece of paper, and this is the one I couldn't find the other day, that I believe the top of it says Adam's Vocabulary. It's a completely typed piece of paper. We didn't add anything to it. This one right here. And actually, we probably should have put the Adam's Vocabulary behind the atom, but okay, go look for it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Not Adam's Notes, that's something different. Let me just search for it. But it was a fully typed piece of paper over what? Protons, neutrons, electrons.
Nucleus, outer shell.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want you to do with this one, here's the paper we're working with next. I want you to cut right here Okay, and then cut like around that box and then just make this smaller. So make a couple cuts there just to get around your atom. So you just, you can leave where it says atoms vocabulary. So above the box, you can leave the title. Yes, you are cutting. Those lines are you cutting. Parker.
I didn't have the page before that.
Okay, well get with me now and we'll figure that out in a second. You'll just skip a page. It has to be somewhere. Okay, well we'll look. Just skip a page in your, skip a page. Actually, I have one up here on the board. Do you write teeny tiny, Parker? This one looks more, is anybody else missing this? Did everybody else glue it in already?
Parker is not. Let me see. You cannot even see it from there. I wrote on the line.
Was anybody else missing this? Finley, did you already glue yours in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we did first.
Yep.
So glue this one here. And write element. While you do that, I'll cut this out. Hold on, Jude, we're not gluing them yet. Element, yep, just title that one element. Okay, once you have those two cut apart, I want you to get out your atomic model paper where we drew the neon, sodium, and fluorine atoms yesterday. Okay, so once you have that, I want you to get this out and cut. Let me pull that one up now. This one. What page does it say at the bottom? 42? Oh, there it is. On this one, you are going to cut. Let me get to page 42 a little bit quicker. On this one, okay, the atomic model ones where we drew them yesterday, we already have a lot of this upper information on the atoms vocabulary. We talked about where we can get the protons, the neutrons, the outer shells. Do we have... Yeah, it's on there. Okay, so right here, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you cut... let's just cut right here. Cut it right there. Yeah, you will not need the top piece. That'll be thrown away shortly. What'd you say? If you want to trim the sides, you can. That's fine. You can trim off that bottom margin, like where it says page 42. You can probably trim that off. You're cutting right on that red line, Finley.
Oh, I accidentally cut right here.
That's fine. Or go ahead and just, yeah, we need those words, so cut right there.
Okay.
then we're going to talk about how we're going to glue them in our notebook. I'm just going to go to a whiteboard. I want you to go to your next open page. I'm going to try and draw an open notebook here. So pretend that's our open notebook. Here's the spiral in the middle. So do I have it turned normal? No, I have it turned sideways. Okay, and I want you to go to the next page where the top and the bottom is open. So you haven't glued any of those 3 pages in yet. You can. Okay, so you should have your atoms vocabulary, your atomic model that was drawn for us, and then the atomic models that we drew ourselves. Okay? Yes. Yes. Okay? So now you have your notebook turned sideways on the next open page. This is one where we are going to glue on the top and the bottom because all this stuff kind of goes together. At the top, I want you to glue in the atoms vocab sheet that you cut. Okay? You'll probably have to turn it sideways like that to get it to fit. So you're gluing, nope, on the top. So your notebook should be open on your desk like this. Open on your desk like this, and it's the top. The atoms vocabulary is where it says proton, electron, neutron. It's this one. You're just gluing that on the top. Yep, you're just gluing that on the top. If you cut off the words, atoms vocabulary, write it on this page. You're putting it on the top. On this bottom page, we're going to label this one atomic models. And I want you to put the model that was already drawn. Okay, it had the nucleus with the rings and everything was labeled, the protons, the electrons, the neutrons. And then, but don't glue them yet. Try and fit the other one that we drew also, the atomic models that we drew that has neon, sodium, and fluorine. Is it F or FL? Yeah, you can cut it, trim it up however you need. Try and fit those on that second page and somewhere try and label it atomic models if it'll fit. You'll probably have to turn it the other way to get it to fit. So you're just trying to get those 2 to fit on. You may need to trim one of them a little more. That works. Yeah, once you get it to fit, you can go ahead and glue it. I just didn't want you to glue until you knew it would fit. That's fine, yeah, because it's not like you put these in a binder or anything. What'd you say?
Trim the other one.
Okay, just get it to fit. It's okay. As long as you're not covering anything up that you need. That's fine. I would probably put that atomic model one on over the other one, like flip it, overlap it. There you go, because there's nothing in that bottom corner. Okay, Jude, label that one atomic models. Okay, once you get those all glued in, put your notebook aside. You should have, I believe, 5 papers in your science folder that go with lesson 1. You should have the which atom is which pictures, the Adams notes, which is the back of it is the which atom is which answers, the Adams family worksheet, a periodic table, and the what are compounds worksheet. So you should have about 5 pages left in your folder. Yeah. Okay, so then get out the what are compounds worksheet. Get out your what are compounds worksheet. Yes.
Should we do the back section?
Yeah, as we go over it.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Maya. We're going over this first. We may, when we're done with this, I'm gonna let you start it, but really we're gonna do most of it tomorrow. That's all we're doing tomorrow. The open book quiz. Hey Finley, will you pull the door shut, please? Okay, so part of this you had to read the text to get the answers. I need scissors and glue put away. Part of it you had to read the text just in the paragraphs. I want you to get out a highlighter because I'm going to have you highlight where we find some of these answers. They're all there. Some of them are a little bit harder to find. Dane, put it away. Unless you're using a glue stick to glue something in, it needs put away. Okay, so this piece of paper, if it was confusing, it's because we have talked about compounds. That's water made up of 2 elements, okay? It's just you have to be familiar with the vocabulary of atoms, molecules, compounds. What was the other one? What'd I skip?
This will go with her progress report tomorrow.
So I said elements, compounds, molecules, and atoms. Those are the 4. That's different.
Topic.
The 4 on our foldable were atoms, elements, molecules, compounds. Okay? They added in pure, what did they call them? Pure particles? Pure materials on here. Okay? Our book doesn't refer to them the same. Okay? So you have learned that molecules are particles made of more than one atom. Okay? Like a water molecule is 2 hydrogen atoms. Jude, put those away. And 1 oxygen atom. Why is that a compound and not an element? Okay, why is a water molecule a compound and not an element? Finley?
Because of H2O, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen.
So why is that considered a compound and not an element?
Because hydrogen and oxygen are elements.
Yeah, idea because it's made up of two different elements. Okay? If it is a molecule made up of the same element, of the same type of molecule, then it's just an element because there's only one type of molecule in it. If the atoms in the molecules of a material are different, the material is a compound. Remember that all atoms and molecules are very small particles. Elements and compounds are materials made of many particles. The particles in a compound are always molecules, not atoms. Because the particles of a molecule have more than one kind of atom, they must have more than one atom. Particles with more than one atom are molecules. Explain why water is a compound and not an element. So Finley, go ahead and tell me what your answer was there.
Because of H2, 2 hydrogen, and 1 oxygen.
Yeah, because it's made up of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay? So it's because it's made up of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen. Remember we learned that all pure materials are made of just one kind of atom or just one kind of molecule. Also, pure materials are made of only one element or only one compound. Okay? We have not learned that. This is from a whole, if you look up here, this is from a whole 60-page document that we could have just given you, and instead of a textbook, worked through these, and you would have gotten a lot of the same information. So that's why the word pure materials was new. Oops. Went too far. I'm not even scrolling anymore. There we go. That's the one we need. Oh, nope, there it is. Why is it? Okay. Okay, it says, these are some common elements you may have heard of: hydrogen, helium, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, neon, aluminum, chlorine, calcium, nickel, copper, silicon, iodine, gold, tin, mercury, lead. These are some common compounds you may have heard of: salt, sugar, water, rust, and carbon dioxide. We have been studying 4 words that are easy to confuse: atoms, molecules, elements, and compounds. This diagram may help you keep them straight. Follow the direction that the arrows point to make sentences. For example, at the top, atoms, follow the arrow, are always elements. Elements combine to form compounds. Compounds are always molecules. Okay, if I start at elements and go this way, elements can be in the form of molecules. Let's start here. Molecules are usually compounds. Compounds are made of 2 or more elements. Elements can separate or can be separate atoms. Okay, that's called a flow chart. I thought maybe you guys were familiar with those, but as many questions as we had in study hall yesterday, I decided that was not true. But you will see flow charts really in about every subject. You'll start seeing them. It's just a way to organize a lot of information. Okay, so let's go to back. And the back was tricky. I'm not saying that it was super easy. Oh my goodness, stop. Okay. Which particles make up all elements? Which particles make up all elements? And I want to know where you found it. So which particles make up all elements, and tell me where you found it. Maya?
Atoms.
Okay, atoms, where did you find that?
On the first part, wait, no. Because it says these are particles and never mind.
Parker?
Atoms are always elements.
So which particles make up all elements? Finley?
Atoms make the elements.
Does it say that? Did we find that somewhere? I'm looking for evidence, okay? Miss Beer, I know, talks to you a ton about citing your evidence. Parker?
It's in that chart right there. It says atoms are pointing to elements, and it says are always.
Okay. Haley?
In the text where it says atoms are always elements.
Okay, so in the text it says it, but yeah, Parker, you were talking about the flow chart, but yeah, it's there kind of twice. But if I were doing this one, that one probably would have popped. I'm frozen, I can't use anything. I probably would have wrote kind of atom small over to the side. Why do you think I would have maybe wrote it over to the side? Abby?
Just in case it's wrong.
Yeah, that's one that I think the answer is atoms from that text that says atoms are always elements. Okay, but maybe I'm not 100% confident in my answer. Sometimes when it's multiple choice, you can do things like that, kind of process of elimination. Say, okay, if atoms doesn't fit better anywhere else, then yes, I'm going to keep it right there. Looking at B, which particles are always made of more than one atom? Abby? Molecules. Did you find that one?
Yeah.
In the flow chart?
Yeah. It says.
If we start with it says which particles are always made of more than one atom. And if you look, there's a box that says molecules are made of 2 or more atoms. So that's why it is molecules was B. That far left part of the flow chart is what told us that. C, what is made of one kind of atom or one kind of molecule? This was new to us yesterday. Harper?
Pure material.
Pure materials. And that one you would have had to get from the text. That would not have been anywhere in your prior knowledge. So C was pure materials. I don't even know if I'm recording anymore. I think it's frozen. Next one. Which materials are made of one kind of atom? Maya? Nope. Because this is which materials are made of one kind of atom. It was in the first paragraph. Brady? Elements. Elements are made of a single kind of atom.
Which one is that?
D. D is elements. Now, Maya, single atoms or single molecules are called particles. So E is particles. And again, this is confusing. That's why we're going over it. And F, which materials are made of more than one element? Jude?
Compound.
Compounds, yes. Compounds. Okay, and again, that was tricky. So the first, yeah, so A was atoms. Yeah, because that was the only one left. Yep, B was molecules. C, pure materials. D, elements. E, particles. F, compounds. I can't even scroll down. Scrolling down, circle the words that are elements. I have to pull mine out because I can't even see it. Finley, give me the first one.
Aluminum.
Aluminum is an element. Jude.
Gold.
Gold is an element. Brady.
Copper.
Copper is an element. Reese.
Oxygen.
Oxygen is the last one. Underline the words that are compounds. Parker.
I have a question.
Okay.
It's in here. It says common.
Sophia, give me a compound. Rust. Dane.
Salt.
Salt. Finley.
Water.
Water. And Abby.
Sugar.
Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, that one made you think. Probably more than you've had to think in a while. Go ahead and put that back in your folder. Oh, now my recording's working again.